fans are out there, and I tell you, from 15 to 65, they're crazy about you.
Oh, that's very sweet.
But it's true.
Thank you.
You know that. Is it ever? Did you ever get used to the noise and the screaming?
No. No, I never do. And people don't believe it, you know. I was saying it here, I never get used to this. I live a very quiet life. You know, this is not what I do all the time. So, I forget sometimes.
When you say you live a very quiet life, how may I picture that?
I live in a very beautiful place in the country, with trees and land all around. So it's very quiet, and that's what I prefer to do.
And then also you got your prize, you got the award, and you said, first and foremost, you feel as a father much more than anything else. In which sense? How may I understand that?
Well, that's who I really am. You know, this is my job, but you know, there'll be a day when I don't do this anymore. But I'm never going to stop being a father.
Did it change you in some way? You have the feeling as a person?
Of course, of course. You know, I didn't have my son until I was 50, so I'd already done my life, pretty much. You know, I'd done it all. Although I still find things I haven't done. But yeah, I mean, this sense of giving yourself totally to your child, well, it's an extraordinary experience.
You mean the devotion of the time? Because a lot of people, we know that, you know, working people, they don't have time for the kids. They have their nannies and they take care of it. So you mean the time you spend and devoting...
Well, time is important. You have to put the time in.
Yeah.
You have to. But it's the emotional care, it's the selfless emotional involvement, the sense of patience that we usually don't have to have much patience about ourselves because we're so selfish it doesn't matter. But you can't do that with a child. You have to be genuinely patient from a place of love and commitment.
True, yeah, you have to. But also through Buddhism, you were always, I know you now since I don't know you, but we're doing interviews since 20 years, and I have the feeling you were always a very Zen-like person. You always had that in you. I think for you it's not so hard to learn to be patient. You always seemed very...
Well, there are layers of this
still
to break through. You know, these things, you know, what some people say, you seem so patient. Compared to people who are really patient, I'm nothing. So these things are very relative.
That's true. That's always how you see it. Also, yesterday, you said you never get used to going up on an award. You have several awards, of course, but you said you never get used to it. You're always nervous. Are you meditating before, or are you taking a deep breath before you go on stage and receive an award?
But I don't live on a stage, believe me. That's what I'm saying to you. I mean, it's still, I live a very simple, very quiet life. That's it. No one pays any attention to me where I am. And so to be in the center of attention like this, it's not the usual. So in that sense, I go, well, this is not natural for me. Of course, I've been there many times, so I understand what to do, but it's not something that I crave, and it's not something that is in my life constantly.
But I mean, with an award, they always, of course, honor the body of work you did so far. Is there anything you are especially proud of? Could you say that from all the very much movies you did so far? Is there something you said, that's what I'm especially proud?
No, look, I've had a long career. I started this when I was 19 years old. And so along the way, there have been many things that were important to me. Of course, I'm focusing much more on the ones I'm doing now. The movie that played last night, Time Out of Mind, is something I'm very proud of. It was 12 years of my life putting that together. And it's a bit of a poem, you know, and as pure cinema, I think, as I've ever done. So I'm very proud of that.
And you know what? When I saw the movie yesterday, it's exactly how I experience and feel, especially New York, but especially in America. No matter where you go, it's everywhere loud. Everywhere.
loud, yeah.
You go, not in the church, but no matter either there is music or it's traffic noise, and this feeling comes very well across. And how it's
Well, we had a
almost.
sound guy. We hired someone. We had a very small budget, but we spent some money on the sound guy, and he put microphones all over the city, and did it very quietly, clandestinely, because I was out there in the streets, but he had placed microphones everywhere, so we were picking up real sound. It wasn't like we stuck the sound on later, but beautifully recorded, immersive sound that's coming from four directions. So if you see this in a theater that has good sound, you really are immersed in the city of New York.
Yeah, it makes you crazy only watching it. And then also what I liked, he always put layers in front of you. And this is because the homeless are invisible for us. It's like they're like behind some wall. You know what I mean?
Well, it's even more metaphoric than that. I think that all of us lived in lives that are behind layers of filters. We very rarely see things directly as they are. The filters that are in our mind, the filters that are in our senses, are always the real experience, the genuine experience is very far away. So we had very long lenses. We're always putting things in between. There are always reflections on my face that are coming from windows. There's the density of so many things going on, the density of thoughts that go through your mind. If you can quiet yourself a little bit and let your awareness settle and watch the spectacle of the thoughts in your mind, it's out of control. It's an opera, and it doesn't stop.
And it doesn't stop,
It doesn't
no.
stop. And our movie is very much like that. The images just keep going, and there's very few moments in this film where there are not reflections coming across my face or things dancing in the image. Very, very few moments like that.
Worldly possessions. I know a little bit about Buddhism, and I know for monks it's not important to have worldly possessions. But they have a good status in the society. But a homeless person has no worldly possession and is not recognized in society. That's so unfair, you know what I mean? What is your opinion about that?
Well, in India, clearly there are a lot of people on the streets, and some of them are considered to be holy, monks or nuns or whatever, and people make it part of their practice to make offerings to them. And as you say, there's not a particular status for a homeless person. In New York City, there actually is. We talk about it in the film. Excuse me. There was a law that came in the late 90s that homeless people have to be given a bed.
Right.
And we see this man go through the process of going through the bureaucracy to get a bed and to get a meal. By law, he does have a certain status. But I don't think there's another place in America that by law people have to be taken care of.
That's maybe right. Yeah, I don't know. But
And I doubt here. I don't think there's any place in Europe that by law.
I think in Germany, I'm from Germany, it
Yeah.
is like that. They have you have to give them shelter. You just can't let them on the street. And social security and stuff like that.
That's great. I'd like to look into that.
Do that. And then also, for you personally, possessions, how important is it? And what is your relation to materialistic things?
I like beautiful things. There's no question. And I have, fairly sophisticated tastes, I think, I've been fortunate enough to be in great museums and around beautiful things, so I appreciate that. I can't say that I need it. My aesthetic probably is more Japanese. That an old piece of wood that has what they call wabi-sabi maybe it's not particularly valuable in itself, but it's something that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I value that more than a diamond ring.
Yeah.